Endurance is it's a blessing. It's a gift that God gives us. Our ability to persevere and to continue to pursue after a goal, or to pursue after a dream, or to pursue after the will of God for our lives. And it's so important that we learn how to endure, because, it's easy to start something, but it's more difficult to finish what you start in life. I'm reminded of a Bible passage from Galatians, the 3rd chapter, where Paul started out when he was speaking to the church of Galatia, and he asked them a question. He asked, who has bewitched you? Who has misled you? Who has caused you to believe that you could start the race with God, but then finish the race with the flesh? How can I start one thing with God, but then try to complete it with my own strength, my own human endurance, my own human ability? That's not the way that God designed for things to be. If we start with God, we need to finish with God. If we begin the race with God, we have to complete the race with God. We can't start first by trusting in God and then try to complete the process by trusting in ourselves. That's not the way God designed things to be. We have to start it with God and finish with God. By the time a newborn baby comes into the world, we've already created so many hopes and dreams for that child. We sit back and imagine what they're going to be, how successful they're going to be in life. We imagine the best for them. We don't just come up with a name for them, but we come up with an entire plan for them. We plan their futures. We plan for them to be married by a certain age. We plan for them to accomplish so many goals in life. We sit back and we think about or dream about them making the honor roll and sailing right through school and right through graduate school and getting all of their degrees and all of their education and finally making big bucks in life. And we want them to live such a wonderful and such a beautiful and almost perfect life. Oftentimes we want them to live the life that we wish we could have lived, the life that we never had. And we sit back and project our hopes and dreams onto them, hoping that they would just finish the race that we started. But I'm sorry, life doesn't always work the way that we plan. We don't plan for sicknesses. We don't plan for untimely deaths. We just don't plan for gangs or teenage pregnancy or drug addictions or all kinds of other disorders. We don't plan for jail or incarceration. We don't plan for a lot of the things that ends up happening to our children. And we find ourselves in a pit of discouragement, oftentimes looking despair right in the eyes, wondering, will tomorrow ever brighten up? Will I ever see a bright sunshine? Just like we have such high hopes for our children, someone had high hopes for us as well. People looked at us and said, well, one day you're going to grow up and you're going to be this or you're going to be that. And, I remember I was looking at Facebook one day and someone posted a picture of what success looks like. And, well, it was actually two illustrations. The first illustration showed a beginning point at the very bottom of the screen, and then there was a diagonal line that went straight up, and it's at the very top of the screen. At the ending point of the line was the word success. And the picture, the illustration, it showed that success is, or the process leading to success is simple. You start at one point and you just shoot straight to the top. As long as you keep going, you'll reach the top. But beside beside that picture, there was another illustration. And this illustration here, it had a label reality above it. And it had the same thing. It had the starting point, and then it had success at the very top in the right-hand corner. But when it showed the line was all tangled up. It went up and down, in and out, looped around. It went back and forth. There was no straight line. And that's an accurate depiction of life, that there's no straight line. Whenever you're heading towards where God is trying to take you, there's no straight line. No, there are going to be plenty of ups, plenty of downs. There are going to be those times when you feel like God is with you, and then those times when you feel like God is not with you. There are going to be those times where you feel like God has abandoned you, or God has left you, and there are going to be those times when you feel that surge of strength and energy, like the Lord is right here on my side, and I know I can do it. And then you may find yourself one day feeling like an overcomer, and then the next day you feel like you've been overcome by your circumstances. Well, that's reality. And the only remedy for this, the only way to make it in the midst of this chaotic situation, the chaotic process that life takes us through, is you have to understand that you start with God and you finish with God. God didn't promise you that you wouldn't have some dips, some turns, some curves. He never told you that you wouldn't gain and then lose, gain and then lose again. God never told you that you wouldn't find yourself experiencing disappointments. All he told you to do was trust him. And by that, I mean stay with him. Continue to do the things that he's asking you to do. Continue to praise, continue to rejoice, continue to seek his face, continue to glorify his name, continue to lift him up, even when you don't understand what's going on.